Hi everyone, and welcome to How Good's Footy in Asia, AFL Asia's official podcast. We're up to episode 23, and today we have a monster AFL Grand Final preview podcast. Got us thinking during the week. I'm Matty Gower, your co-host from Osaka, Japan. We got Bill Krang over there in countryside Vietnam, and our special guest. And when we come up with the panel for our AFL Grand Final preview, we thought no better than Mr. Rutkermanis, Thailand Tigers legend, and probably the biggest Western Bulldogs member and fanatical member at that in Asia. So welcome, Rudy. How are you first, Rut?
Quite good. Just like we have a good time here since we make a granny.
We'll get more into the grand final preview shortly. Bill, you're still in countryside Vietnam in the wife's homeland.
Yeah. We changed down a directive level today, so we've gone from 16 to 15. What does that mean? I think it means that I can ride my push bike and I can go out in public legally now, rather than sneaking out through the rice fields, which I've been doing for the last couple of months. So it's a positive step out here. Bear in mind we're an hour outside the city. The case numbers in Saigon haven't stopped, so I don't know. Hanoi has actually. I'll get in trouble from Kero if I don't talk about the whole country. Hanoi has actually gone to the same level as us this week with limited cases. So whilst we have an outbreak in the south, the country's looking better. They're hoping that they might even get some limited number training sessions in the next few weeks and head back towards the domestic league stuff. So things are relatively positive overall in the country, but there's still plenty to go. We're only 6% vaccinated, so yeah,
it's pretty low. We'll get a bit of an update from how COVID-19 is going in Thailand at the moment.
Yep, just like I think it's look better. Just like the number of active cases just like going down day by day, but I don't know. We just reconnect everyone. Probably let's see in next 2 weeks what will happen. So it still go down. Just like it will be good for everyone in this country. That's everything get back to normal, maybe a new normal, whatever. Yeah, and hopefully the number of people that pass away hopefully it's gone down like this. Let's see that. Yep.
Yeah, good to hear, Rudy. In Japan, I think we got out to about 266,000 active cases. Olympic time, 3,500 cases a day in Tokyo. Everyone's was loving the Olympics, but probably unaware as to what the state of play was, COVID-wise.
Yeah.
For those people that are saying, "Oh, Matty Gower, he's lost his beard and he's probably lost a bit of weight," well, there's a key reason behind it. I'm going to be open. We don't get too serious on the How Good's Footy in Asia podcast, but I will mention that all of my direct family members and I have had COVID-19. We tested positive 3 weeks ago today. All of us have had it. Starting to come out the other end. My energy levels are starting to return. Still can't smell anything, can't taste anything, but really experienced some really tough headaches, a lot of pain in my joints and muscles, and thankfully it hasn't been too serious for us as a family. But I will note out, and this isn't a recommendation from an AFL Asia advisory board perspective or what's coming out of the AFL, but I can imagine that we won't be going back and travelling for footy in Asia until everyone's vaccinated. You know, you think about the next Asian champs. It's not going to be a directive from AFL Asia as such, but we know that airlines will incorporate those values that you'll have to be vaccinated to jet on board. And obviously that's going to take away hotel quarantine moving forward as well. But just wanted to put that out there. Roll up the sleeve, get vaccinated so we can get back to playing footy. We can travel. Can't wait to get over to Vietnam and Thailand again and start travelling and getting back to playing footy and seeing the AFL Asia family. That's a big one for me. So roll your arm up. Let's get the Guernseys back on. I've got probably one of the most beautiful looking Guernseys designed in Asia. This comes from the 2018 AFL Asia Indochina Cup where Myanmar, it's on this side. And
you're just behind, hang on, let me get rid of the banner.
Yeah, it's an absolute cracker. I'll just lift her up a bit. So we got the Myanmar Fighting Cocks over here, this side, and the Laos Elephant. So they merged to become the elephant Elephant Cocks, I think it was called. But magnificent Guernsey, and I was very thank you to Wazza Baglan from Myanmar, who's the president at the time, probably still is, for giving me the opportunity to get one of these Guernseys.
I dare say that could have been the last Fighting Cocks outing. It's possible.
No, I think that Asian
2018.
Champs, 2019 Asian Champs. They
Okay, sorry.
They played. Yeah.
Gone early on that one.
You've jumped the gun there, Bill. That's all right. That's not the first time. Now let's move into some footy. Before we get started, a lot of people know you. 40-year-old. So you just turned 40 last week. So happy birthday, mate. Happy birthday.
Gee, Calvin Cup.
Happy birthday.
Now, you're a Thai national. You absolutely love footy. You love your Thailand Tigers, but you love the Western Bulldogs just as much. How did it come about that you become a member of the Western Bulldogs, and where did your journey start as a Western Bulldogs fan?
Back to 2008, I moved from Sydney to Melbourne, and as you know, that every Friday and Saturday, Sunday, it's all about footy. Actually, I knew nothing. Never watched that game. Never followed that game before. Just like my life was about soccer for almost 30 years. Yeah. The first time I watched it, probably NAB Cup, Adelaide versus St Kilda. Quite interesting that the footy out of the ground, out of the field, they can't get a throw in. They throw in by umpire. Then next second, footy out again. They kick in by another team. It's like it's quite. What is that? I don't understand at all, but I keep watching it all the time, and then I get the rule of a game a bit. And then I think I went to TAB for the first time, and I bet on the bit. Yeah. And then actually I follow St Kilda first, follow them. Rui look good, everyone talk about Nick Rival all the time. But one day, I think in the early stage of that season, they play against Western Bulldogs. And then that game, Jason Rutkermanis played quite well. And then number of jersey, 21. The next day, I find about his profile, just like 178, same height. Oh wow, he's out of his former club because he a bit talkative. That's me. Right, I go from that day. So after that game, I became a Bulldog supporter. Yep.
Fantastic. Bill, now we all know that you're a Melbourne supporter. When did your journey start with the Melbourne Demons, and what age and how did you get involved with Melbourne? Like, you got 10 teams to choose from. You chose Melbourne.
No, I don't think there's too many people out there who chose Melbourne. So this is a lifelong, you could say, affliction that you have it from birth. So I mean, it's my grandfather was very strict. So a lot of my cousins are still very, very, flew across for the 2018 prelim type followers still in Melbourne. Obviously, I've been overseas for 12 years now. Before that, I was in Queensland for 5 years, and it probably ran parallel to Melbourne's performance, how the passion waned a little bit. But grew up trying to kick a footy, always looking at Gary Lyon and trying to follow his, which I think wasn't a bad thing for a kicking style. So whole family, some good memories in there, but a lot of struggling times, and who knows? It has been an absolute joy to watch Max Gawn kind of pick up the club and put it on his shoulder this year. So, dare to dream type stuff, but let's see. It could all still go pear shaped. We know that.
Just for your information, boys, and I've spoken to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks. Melbourne and the Western Bulldogs are probably people's second teams, if you could have one. I know Sydney's one of those type of teams as well.
Yeah.
At times Brisbane as well, but certainly there's a lot of joy that both of these clubs are in there. Obviously, Melbourne haven't won since 1964, and the Bulldogs with that magnificent victory in 2016, probably still the best grand final of since the drawn grand finals. I think as a spectacle, that was just a riveting final series in general from Western Bulldogs that season. So I think that this game, without going into the preview just yet, don't want to press the button on that, but this has got the build-up of being one of the best of all time. It's going to be an absolute thriller, one for the ages. But before we do that, we'll just quickly go through the preliminary finals. Two absolute buildings. I've got two kids trying to come in the door at the moment. I've given the warning signs. You give the 6-year-old, the 3-year-old doesn't listen. Don't come in. I'm doing an important professional podcast here. Don't come inside. That's
a red rag to a bull.
The red flag. Here he comes. No, don't come in here. All right. So the prelims, they were absolutely blowouts. I thoroughly enjoyed watching Melbourne annihilate Geelong. They just peeled them apart. Geelong just were like training cones out there, and Melbourne just controlled it. It was just a training drill. As far as the Western Bulldogs, I was actually going for Port Adelaide because of my affiliation with them in the past. But again, that was just a training drill. And I think Port's selection table was probably one of their biggest issues. They had the tagger on the bench. And before he gets on, that's 5 goals already to zip. So Willem Drew started on the bench. There was a strange move. The Port Adelaide former players had a flight out of Adelaide that Port Adelaide supporters could go to the grand final. They had all this organised and they weren't even at the big dance. So it sort of blew up in their faces a bit. But I think at the end of the day, two teams that started 8 and zip at the start of the season have made the grand final. And it's going to be an absolute belter. So, Bill, your thoughts about the prelim from a Melbourne perspective?
Oh, mate, I was really crook. Had been crook for the week before it. I actually wasn't COVID, but it was dengue fever, and so I was laid up in bed and pretty flat. And then that 2 hours happened, and it was quite a bit of disbelief actually. You're just nervous. You always think, there's a chance they don't show. They've had the week off. There's all these things, but they played that game against Geelong, that bizarre game at the end of the season. Albeit that game was down in Geelong. It was the last round. As Chris Scott pointed out after the game, it was for questionable stakes. You were going to South Australia to play a top 4 final anyway. Now, I think Melbourne really wanted it, but they did have that, shocking period in the second quarter of that game. So, long story short, by quarter time, I'd gotten over dengue fever. I was feeling a lot better about it. As soon as you got the look of that game, you could really see, similar to the Saturday night game with the Doggies, once you realise that you're first at every ball, it takes a lot to change that in a knockout final with that much on the line. So, I became pretty comfortable, even though Jezza Cameron kicked that first goal. And that was always the danger, that him and Hawkins only needed 3 or 4 looks each to turn the game. They're such one-touch players. The game was over pretty early, and unfortunately, I was only up for the 2 hours. Then I came down even harder for the next couple of days, but all good now. I've had two weeks to get up, like most of the Doggies players have. So it was a bit bizarre to go from so flat to such a good performance. And then the next night, you kind of go, it took a bit of the gloss off, to be honest. I'll let you go over that game. But it did. You go, oh Jesus, okay.
I think
two can do this.
Sorry about the background Lego noise, ladies and gentlemen. We've got a bit of a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old who just stormed the house, so they could tear the walls down during this podcast. Buyer beware. Now, Maxie, just before we do go over to Max Gawn's performance in the ruck, 5 goals in the ruck. He annihilated the Cats. I think it's probably one of the best performances in an AFL final series that I've ever seen in my lifetime. It was huge. Gary Lyon's 10 goals in the 80s or maybe even 90s was pretty good, but that one was just absolutely outstanding.
Yeah, I know that Gary Lyon brings that up every chance he gets, but I don't remember it. So now it was kind of icing on the cake. I know Maxie said it himself the other day. They were 6 goals up before he kicked a goal. So read what you want into that. I do feel like he's had this club on his shoulders all season.
Yeah.
And I know that when they really stumbled in 2019, Port Adelaide went after him in round one, and nobody really got stuck in to help him that day. And so there's some sort of significance in the fact that he's risen above everything now, and to be All-Australian captain and to have played another great season. I don't think it's been his best even by any means, but yeah. And once he got up and running, you could just see like that centre clearance goal. That's a joke. Like that's Petrarca and him are supposed to swap roles, right? He gives a knee-high handball to Petrarca, who's good enough to pick it up off his knees and straighten up and kick it from 60. So it was all just the script was just gone haywire by then. But I mean, I wonder, can he carry that through? He really has got this between his teeth that he's going to lead this club to where they wanted to get to. Now, is it too much pressure? Is it? I don't know. I can't wait to find out. It was incredible, though.
Yeah, I won't go into it too much, Bill, but I did hear one of the former Melbourne Premiership players, not now, mate, from 1964, and he was a part of the Norm Smith curse, and he mentioned that that curse has been around until Maxi took that mark and kicked that goal after the siren.
The Geelong one, yeah.
The Geelong one.
Round 23.
Round 23 game. So I don't know, was it just before the siren or late in the game?
That's his opinion, Matty. That's his opinion. I think you know when the curse is lifted. Everybody will know.
This one.
I heard, I heard him say that, and I did think, mate, don't even go there.
All right, let's go over to Rudy. We don't want him getting cold feet over there in the corner.
Yeah.
Rudy, what was your feelings like around that Port Adelaide victory in the prelim over in Adelaide? I just thought it was a scintillating performance. We know the Western Bulldogs midfield bat very deep, and they had everyone just playing at the top of their game. How did you feel during that game, mate? What's your perspective on the Western Bulldogs prelim win?
I think half of us didn't think about that result. Even we saw the game on the day before. We think it would be a close game. We have a chance to win. We believe that because our midfield just like have a depth, we can run out. Even we don't have a bye week, but we still have a leg to run to fourth quarter. Beginning of the game, just like I feel like you, just like on that day, Andrew Cox was here with me. He came up from Bangkok, and he started why they left Will Drew on the bench.
Yeah.
You need someone to run with your midfield like Libba. If Libba can hand off and first ball use go to the dots is terrible. And then it's come through just like first goal and feel right. Can't. Second one, third one, fourth one. We're like, wow, this can't be. And then second quarter we blow up just like. I believe that we win. Yeah, it's happening. We win the game for sure. But how we left the ground and build the momentum for the grand final. And then back in the third quarter, the beginning of quarter, they bang back for two. Just like, oh wow, again third quarter always. But then our boys done their job. Just like in terms of football, I feel a bit. We need something more from both sides. Just like it's a prelim, it can't be a game like that for 2 games in a row. It's not fun. But when I left my Bulldogs hat, I watched it as a footy fan. Just like, yeah, it's not a bad game. It's not a good game. But that game of football, when one team is on form and on fire, and another team just like turn off, so it's be like that. So finally. It's a good one for me, but for footy world, I'm not sure. Seriously.
Yeah, it wasn't a great game to watch. I think the main reason is Port Adelaide didn't give a yelp. From the outset, they got a lot of players in there, a lot of small forwards that didn't have any pressure. You look at the screen, any given time, there was always 4, 5, 6 Western Bulldogs players, maybe 1 or 2 Port players.
Yep.
I think the best thing that they did, and this is a matchup that we'll talk about a little bit later, is that they used Josh Shackey in an important role, put him on a Lear, and it was a pretty influential decision. He kicked a couple as well, and I think we'll talk about that matchup. I reckon he'll go to Jake Lever a bit later, but they just controlled everything. They controlled the game from back defence through the midfield, and their forwards all really played well. Hannon, he was excellent as well, and the big mullet, Norton, he was terrific as well. I'm looking forward to him come grand final day as well. We'll start going through the games a little bit now. We'll talk about the key matchups. For me, the key matchups will be through the midfield. I don't know whether there's going to be any direct opponents. They might just go head to head. But if there's going to be a matchup where a player may go to one, I think it might be Harms might go to Libba as a matchup to try and stop the supply. But I think you'll see Jake Lever will have Shackey on his hanging around him for the day and trying to annoy him. But I think for me, Lever's actually just too smart for Shackey. I can't see Shackey going twice in a row. I think Norton looms as probably one of the players that could. I don't know who gets him as a matchup, but whether May goes to him, I think he might be a bit too quick for May. But we'll have to see about that. But Bill, firstly for you, who's some key matchups that you're thinking about going into this magnificently poised game?
Yeah, I mean, it still starts and ends for Melbourne a little bit with Gawn, and it's the same with the Dogs with Bont. So Steph Martin's going to really try and jump through his mate, but can he cover the ground? And if I was, Melbourne won't be scared to unleash Jackson early or for long periods as well, because he kind of, especially the Doggies like to get one more around the contest. Well, Jackson Rhodes like one more as well, so he helps square that up more than Gawn even does himself. So the ruck's a big one, and for mine, I can go both ways. I can sit here and tell you why Melbourne will win for a couple of hours, but I can also tell you why they'll lose. But I wonder when Gawn goes forward, who does go to him, Like the Doggies have Keith, and then it's kind of third-string defenders who even Bevo doesn't really seem to rate. He's dropping them all through the year. Same with Shackey. Bevo doesn't even want him in his 18 half the year. So to see him pulling apart a grand final, to me, seems a stretch. But obviously they got themselves there with a good win. Other matchups, so Keith is the key defender. He goes to Brown. Tom McDonald, what does he do? The Smalls, you can say that they got away with one on Charlie Cameron in the last quarter versus the Lions, but he'd already kicked 4 or 5. He'd torn them apart. So what do they do on Cozzy and the other Smalls? Those matchups, who knows? I think Stephen May's all right, but he won't want to get up on the wings with Norton, that's for sure. So there'll be an element of handover that I think they've done that through the year. But he'll play goalkeeper / deepest forward. And I know that the Doggies liked sending Hannon up to try and mix that up. We've actually got a comment from the cheap seats here. Timmy Pickett, one of our Swans legends. So I've obviously been on a few chat groups mentioning how Hannon is an unrequired player, and he's kept popping up. He popped up in that last Dogs v Melbourne game with a couple of really handy goals for the Dogs, and he was pretty good again in that preliminary. He doesn't miss his chances, I've noticed, which I seem to remember him missing a whole lot more a few years ago. But so I'm going to say that it starts in the ruck for us, and I'd be confident that we've got 6 forwards that'll be hard for the Dogs 6 packs to take care of.
Just hang on a minute, boys. June, go and shut the door, please. I just remember my old man telling me thousands of times, shut the bloody door. And
that's right. Born in a tent.
Yeah, you're born in a tent. You see all that money going out of the air conditioner, it's going straight out the front door. Just on that, I think Bailey Frisch and Timmy P's actually made a really good point about
Let's get him off.
Yeah, get him off. Get him back later. But Hannon and Frisk for me, I reckon they'll bob up.
I reckon Hannon's better than Fritz.
Frisk, I'll tell you what, if you're going to have a quick number, we'll talk more about the first goal a little bit later. But Bailey Frisk, I think he's a good chance for the first goal. Just quietly spend your money wisely. Rutkermanis, what's your favourite looking match looking like, mate? What's your match that you're looking?
The key matchup for me is just like if B was there to send Northern directly to May. The thing is, our three-tall structure will be Northern, Timmy English, and Chucky. If you leave Timmy against May will have a great day. But if you leave Northern on May, you bomb inside. If they lead, he grab the mark, he break the line.
Yeah.
Not gonna have a big chance. Don't scare of it. Just send your best forward to the best defender.
So do you see?
Designer.
Yep, I agree. And also,
do you see just quickly? Do you see Petty going to the resting ruckman? Is that the way you see it?
Yep. You're gonna send Petty to the rest ruckman, but just like a week ago, I'm not sure Fox Footy show or footage that we will try to send Hannah or someone smaller to May and just like spin around, like, and then finally May just like, right, stay with me, and send Lever to Northern, and then plenty of space for us. But in the grand final, I see the difference, just like send Northern directly to him. And another one, just like, it's not a direct matchup, but Bond and Patraka, who can create something across half forward. Their team, his team, gonna win the game. By their foot, their brain.
One of them kicks too, right?
Yeah.
Not sure which one, but one of them gets a go.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Libba go head to head against Oliver, but I think Harms might go to Libba. I don't know. It's everyone bats so deep. No, they don't. But yeah, it's just going to be fascinating who sits on who. I think they'll just keep rotating and go head to head. It's going to be a battle for the ages. The midfield's where it's going to be the key matchups. But I think the key matchup for you, as you mentioned, Bill, is Maxi Gawn. I was really impressed with Big Steph Martin up against Lysett. I reckon he took Lysett out of the game, took his jump out. If it was just relying on English and a second string ruckman and Young, I think that they'd really struggle coming up against Maxi. But Steph Martin's a massive in for the Bullies, and they timed it right. Like they gave him that. I think it was like not a VFL hit out, but it was more of an internal leading into the finals, and they've just built his tank up, so he's primed. I think he'll have a big say in how things go. If Maxi can get control in the ruck, it's going to be a big one for the D's. All right, now let's go into X factors, and this probably goes into your.
Hey, Matty, just quickly from the comments, we got some good feedback on the matchups as well.
Yeah, let's do it, please.
A bit more productive than Timmy, but Shane Walsh, I think he's a D's man, but he said, Jackson's roving, especially in traffic, really stands out, and the way he finds those options. I think that's been a big one for me, and that's where the Gawn one becomes even more dangerous, because you're flipping to another form of danger that I think that's why it's been so successful. And then on the other hand, Christian Vandermeer seems to be a dog's bloke. He's going Norton and Cody. Waitman obviously be hoping to hear the whistle a bit. That's how he got his only kicks in the finals so far. So
dig.
And Shane jumped back in and said, try Petty on Norton first. I think this is an interesting one. It really is. Yeah. I love what you said, Root, about Bevo's, if he backs his man and says, you go to May, don't worry about him. I actually think that Norton's the most dangerous forward for May in the whole league, bar none, because of the aerial threat. And that's the one thing that May's not incredible at. He's so strong. You know, if he was a Greco-Roman wrestler or something, he'd go toe-to-toe with everyone, and Tommy Hawkins would be his most threatening opponent. But those flights into packs, that's the one thing May can't control.
No,
and
you're right.
And he's just, I think he'd be having nightmares thinking about it. And then you get Norton going up the wing and back, and it gets a bit nerve-wracking. Anyway.
Yeah, just thanks, Shane, for your message earlier in the day as well. So Shane Walsh is actually based in Osaka, Japan. Yeah, I think he's right. Now, if you do put Petty on Norton, the one thing that the Melbourne defenders do, and we've spoken about this off air many times before, Bill, that Melbourne love to play the 1.5 defenders, so they get Petty to go to Norton, and they play the extra player that will come over the top and intercept or punch away. So that's part of that team defence that Melbourne has actually been really successful with this year. Yeah, thank you very much. Anything else from the pavilion, William?
Well, Christian's got one more tip, and that's for Waitman to get up on Maxi. He's got some form, Maxi, as a platform. So
yeah, he does.
So we could get a memorable Jezelenko-esque mark in the third quarter or something like that. Who knows?
Yeah. All right. Now, X factors for me: Cozzy Pickett for Melbourne and Waitman, free kick Waitman from Western Bulldogs. He's actually really good at attracting free kicks. I've watched him pretty closely, and the free kicks are legit, but he knows how to get the old fishing line out. He gets the lure. He can throw the lure out and get on.
Yeah,
the long
you're
hair.
right.
The long hair, you can throw it around, and people get a bit distracted. But he's a smart footballer. You've got to give him that. Anyone that knows how to track free kicks, done it myself. Not blowing the trumpet just yet, Bill, but it's pretty easy as a big man if you're sitting at the bottom of the pack and you just drop the knees and the umpire gives you the free kick in the back. These things can easily be attracted. But I think for me, they're the two X factors, and I think we all know Petrarca is an X factor as well, but he's a match winner, so that's a slight difference. X factors for you, Rutkermanis. Who's your X factors?
Tim English.
Tim English.
Yeah. If he presents well, and I always talk with Chris, just like if Timmy play angry, play hard, he can go everywhere. Go to back line, grab some mark, let the pressure off back line. He go forward, grab something, just like take time for the rest of the team. If he play well, grab the mark like that again, run around. It's like when Steph need a break, just like send him to go on. Just like if he present well, the team goes well as well.
Yep. Good call, Ruth. I think Tim English is going to go one or two ways. He's either going to have a breakout game in a huge final, or he's going to have nightmares for the next few years. So it's going to go one of two ways for me. Bill, X factors you're in.
Yeah, it's Jakey Lever. If he is able to pick him off, then thanks for coming.
Good night,
Yeah, because it's just too hard to go forward if a bloke's going to take your 6, 7, 8 best forward thrusts and he wins those intercept marks not in space. He wins them over players. Yes, he gets the run and that's how he does it. He's shocking at a one-on-one 50-50. But when he gets the read and the line on it, he'd be picking pockets of Shaki and those sorts of guys. If he's up and about and he does clunk a few, it starts to look good pretty quickly.
Really good call there, Bill. For those that are listening now or later, Jakey Lever, first player in AFL history, VFL history to record an average of 4+ intercepting marks per game. So it's an AFL stat that never been achieved before in season over the course of the season.
To be fair, Norton racked up. McRae racked up the most possessions ever in an AFL season too, in that prelim final. So there's some prolific play that's gone on in both these teams this year to get them where they are.
Yeah, I like McRae as a player, but
Incredible.
he doesn't do a lot of damage with his disposal. He's an accumulator. He's a Tom Mitchell type, but yeah, we'll talk
Does
more
he
about
does
that.
he do more than we give him credit for, or is it the?
He's a lot more
the Tom
courageous
Mitchell
than
role?
what people give. He's a lot more courageous than people give him credit for. That's
You
my
look-
opinion. Rut?
You look at his this year. The thing is, the most improved area of Jack McRae is like when he kick inside 50. He do some damage for for the opponent. Last year,
Yep.
just like he collect a touch, pass to someone, give it to Bond or someone else. But this year, look at his left foot, just like that's good. That's much improved from last year. Yep.
Very good observation, Rut. For me, I think it's his contested position has gotten better. He's always been an outside player, but he's been able to weave through traffic, and it's good to hear that inside 50 kick, because there's a lot of players, and I'll tell you one who loves burning the ball inside 50 is Treloar. So some Collingwood supporters I know were happy to see him go, but I've watched him closely since I've heard that commentary around his kicking, and he's a burner from way back. I think he tries to chew off a bit too much.
One more on the X Factors. Timmy's thrown in. He's on fire today.
Timmy,
Viney's had an incredible. Yeah, Viney's had an incredible finals series, South Australian boy, and probably has all the attributes to, he's got that rock hard head that no one's gonna take the edge off him. So if it does get kind of physical or something like that, he's the sort of guy that's going to absolutely lap that up.
Yeah, Jack Viney, tough as a cat skull, that young lad. And,
absolutely.
Great to see him fit. Great to see him fit.
Yeah, having a good run at it.
Just for those people out in the pavilion, start sending through your Norm Smith medal predictions and your first goals, because once we come to those, we'll get them up on the screen, Bill. So start sending those through. Bill, you keep an eye on things, please. That's the only job you've got today.
Have you got a Sharon for anyone who gets one on the Norm Smith in the first goal? Come on, we can rattle up.
AFL Asia already owes 2 footies. Don't forget that. On the Yoshi, the one to the young lad from Malaysia. I haven't forgotten about that either. But yeah, I'd love to get some footies going. Oh, yeah, we might get
at least eternal bragging rights is the minimum prize on offer. Sharon might.
We can get Rutkermanis to send one of those pink Auskick Sharons that Simon Highfield from the AFL Asia organised for Thailand Tigers that just arrived yesterday. So big thanks to Simon, and well done to the Thailand Tigers on their huge amount of boxes of pink Sharon Auskick footies. Now, let's go to where do you think the game... I think we've pretty much gone through where the game will be won. I think we've gone through that. I think it's going to be a battle of the midfield. It's whoever can bat the deepest. But for me, I think that... outside of the middle, I think the Bulldogs tick the box in the middle. I think you've got the big three there: Max, Clary, and Petrarca, and then you get into Viney and Harms on the outside there, and Brayshaw as well. But I just think Bulldogs bat a little bit deeper in the midfield, but around the ground, up forward, particularly down back, I think Melbourne is a little bit more balanced than the Dogs. And I think for me, if Norton can kick 3 or 4, Bulldogs are in for a big showing here. And then you get to your Hannans chipping in as well, and Waitman bobbing up, and then you get your midfielders kicking goals. If Bond can get 25, 27 touches and 3 goals, well, she's going to be pretty much in that favour. But I think through the midfield, Clary and Petrarca. Petrarca's made for grand finals. And you say Clary is, but I think Max will be influential, but I don't think he'll be the best player on the ground. But we'll get to those Norm Smith. So please send them through. Let's go to the selection table. Bill, Melbourne unchanged?
Yes. And is it Rivers or Jordan? I think Jordan's been the sub for...
Yeah, I think he'll be the sub
a couple
again.
of months.
Yeah.
Jordan, right? Not Rivers.
Yeah.
Rivers
No,
is in.
Jordan.
Yeah. So
Rivers is back.
I think, you can't change that. You can't go away from it. I wonder, of everybody. Okay, one thing I mentioned when we talked about that prelim was the first quarter, seeing the big fella walk around holding his hamstring, Stephen Mays. So I don't know. Generally, is there something in that? But they've got Petty. Beyond Petty, they start to struggle for who goes to English if Steve May had an issue. But there's not much you can do about that. So
you can always swing McDonald down back and go.
they say that they don't seem like they want to, but
if they wanted to, they would have done it in the prelim. He went back from maybe late in the last quarter once he got subbed out as a rotation, but in general, I don't think they'll do that unless they have to.
Yeah,
but that's fine.
So,
that's fine.
No change.
Okay.
Change.
And Jordan for the sub.
Yeah. I mean, Jones has gone home, so at least that's over.
Yeah. That's sad to see him go back, and I'm glad he went back for the birth of his children. For anyone that has children, it's one of the highlights of your adulthood is seeing kids being born and to have twins and retire within the same week. Huge week for him. And what a stalwart for the Melbourne Footy Club has just been an absolute brick. And the game sort of went past him a lot in the last 18 months, but he can hang his hat high. Interesting, during the week that they were talking about whether premiership medals should be given to players that have played during the year, and he was a big advocate of no. I'm an advocate.
Was he?
Yeah, that was his answer. He thinks it should be the 22 and the sub. For me, I think it should be anyone that's played. And this is where it gets a little bit funny. In the NBA, there's a guy that played in the NBA as an import. The name sort of drifts past me a bit, but he'd actually played for the Phoenix. He was playing for the Phoenix Suns in the playoffs, but he played for Milwaukee during the year. And he ended up, he was going to get a ring no matter what. Yep. So I don't really like this concept, but they do play for 2 or 3 teams in the season. We don't have that in our league as of yet.
I would dare say, I'm not an overly materialistic person. I dare say he's getting a medal if they win one way or another. I'll leave it at that. I don't want to, but somebody's taking a medal off their neck and going, listen, I've got this for eternity anyway, and there'll be plenty more that comes my way because of the opportunity I got. But somebody's giving, similar to Bobby Murphy a couple of years ago, someone's giving him a medal. I guarantee that.
Nick Nat says hello in 2018 too, just quietly.
Yeah. He didn't. Yeah,
no,
true,
he didn't play. He had
helped get him there. They did that despite him. So, who knows?
Rutkermanis.
I will go on. Sorry, I'll move back. I see in terms of English Premiership football, just like you have to pass the coin, just like you play 8 games a season, you got the medals. If not, you won't get it because you play more than 8 games. Just like you involve, you'll be part of the Premiership.
I don't mind that.
I feel like
Well, there's cases, and you've got the young fella down back there. Yeah. The name sort of misses me, but he's only playing about game 7 or 8 in this grand final. Bowie, the old man played for St Kilda, I think. Yeah.
He looks like the work experience kid, doesn't he? He just keeps trotting around. I'm still here.
Just a ranger, being an honest ranger, putting his hand up, doing his job.
Hasn't missed a beat.
No, he hasn't, and he's keeping good players out of the team. There's no doubt about
That's right. Yeah, he won't be that popular.
Yeah, he's keeping Piggy Hibbert out of the team there for a while. Now let's go to you, Rutkermanis. There could be up to 3 changes in the Bulldogs lineup. You'd think Keith is coming back in. Waitman, will Vandermeer play? Will he be the sub? Will JJ be the sub? Where do you see the selection table heading for the Western Bulldogs?
For sure, just like we have two change, just like the Fleer, Cody Waitman come in with Keith. The thing is, for me, I just myself.
Yeah.
I prefer Vandermeer stay in and leave JJ as a sub.
Wow.
But would you believe that our famous Chris Vandermeer want to leave Vandermeer on the just send Vandermeer off the team? The thing is, but if you look from the first final game, just like young Vander, just like it's not himself, just like his decision making went wrong. Just like I'm not sure the goal that he handball out to, I forget, maybe JJ, just like, but they have 3 port up there, but luckily we got a goal in the end. So just like sometimes too young and a big stage, just like you won't be what you are. You can't be just like, so couple of days I agree with him, just like maybe when Vanders have to miss it. I believe Scott on the bench, medical sub, because Anthony Scott can go up forward just like he can spin around. So probably as a medical sub, he will sit there, leave JJ get the game. Rogue Smith get the game. I'm not sure. Even myself, just like it take 4 or 5 years to be fine with Rogue Smith, but this season you see his value. He know how to use his body, how to use his muscle, and he fear of nothing. When he grabbed the mark, I'm not sure last game or the game against Brisbane, just he went to the back line, just like he grabbed it, contest mark, and just like we win it. So Rogue have to go. Yeah.
I think Rook Smith could actually be your sub. I don't know who comes out of that side. And for me, there's a real selection dilemma whether you keep Cordy or you go Gardner. For me, I know Gardner. They sort of whoever comes in last sort of goes out, and that would be Cordy. But I actually prefer Cordy down back instead of Gardner. I think Cordy provides a bit more poise, and he's good under pressure. And he can play taller. He's a taller.
I go Cordy. Yeah.
I feel like Cordy dropped for the Essendon game because he was Cook, right? Not his own fault. And Gardner came in, played okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Held him until now. And now Keith comes in, so one of them has to go. So it's hard to even have the last in, last out because it's not totally clear.
No, it's not feasible in its entirety. But I prefer Cordy. He's played in the grand final. He knows what to expect. Gardner.
Yeah,
Gardner's made a huge fist of his opportunities since getting delisted from Geelong. He's been pretty good. Yeah, so it could go.
I think one point that no one mentioned is Cody can go forward. If you send Jackie to close Jackie lever, it doesn't work. You can swap. Put Cody.
Can do the same job almost.
Yeah. Go on lever and bring Jackie down the back line as he did in just like couple of games in the Premiership season.
Shaki was really
so just like it's a bit flexible, yeah. So we can move. It doesn't work. We have an instrument to do something during the game. Or you play Gardner, just like Gardner stay on the back line all the time.
Yeah.
You can't do something special, probably.
So I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on at Thailand Tigers, but just put your hand up for a bit of a coaching panel type gig when you start getting back on the field. Really, really impressive, mate. Good thinking. Terrific observation. All right, now we've done the selection table.
I think Mohammed has that popped up. Just love the insight.
Yeah. Let's go to the first goal. It's like Russian roulette. You put your bids on all these different numbers and hope they come up. I think that's one of those things. You can put 4 or 5 selections into it. It's an absolute chook raffle. You're right. For me, for the Bulldogs, we'll start. I think Norton, Waitman, the Bont.
You're missing, I reckon, Liver.
He's kicked the first goal for the Bulldogs quite a few times in the last month, isn't he?
Yeah. He loves to grab the footy on the ground and kick it inside 50.
Yeah,
that's
scrappy.
Him. He loves
scrappy.
Yeah.
Before the game gives anybody else a chance, that's his time.
Do you think it's a ploy with the Bulldogs in that first couple of hit-outs or those first couple of centre clearances that everyone's going to concentrate on what McRae's doing and what the Bont's doing, and they don't pay enough respect to Liver, so he just naturally goes forward and he's the loose player. Do you reckon that's a ploy? I reckon it could be.
I think it might have been a thing, like it happens, but given that the big talk out of the first game between Melbourne and Dogs this year was that they went to Liver above everyone else, and what it did to Footscray, to the Dogs, how it took away a lot of their structure, and the supply didn't get down the chain because they cut it off at the head. So I feel like Melbourne would be, I think it was the Lions maybe, that he kicked those 2 early goals. And it's too late by then. Once he started feeding the system's already up and running. And that port thing, I just can't, why would you start your tagger off? Like, it makes no sense. You could bring your tagger off after 10 minutes, but to go the flip side, I get it's backing in your own system, but
it's backing it. It's not backing in the other, not backing in the opposition kicking 5 goals before your tagger gets on.
And
all right, so for me, Melbourne first goal kicker Benny Brown with his Dennis Lilly run up, an obvious selection. Bailey Fritsch, obvious selection. Kay Pickett.
Cozzy under a pack, yeah.
Cozzy, yeah, he's up there. Petrarca streaming through the middle on the run from McGawn here.
Oliver the same as Libba, really. The game, I don't reckon Benny Brown gets a good look in the first 10 minutes because it's just too hot. It's too every contested mark has 3 people just throwing their body at you, which Benny Brown's not built for that.
McDonald's a chance for first goal, I'd have to say as well.
Yeah, Timmy's got a fair point.
Oh, Timmy P, 3 votes.
Yeah,
Neil Bullen's been doing it all finals too. So, it's an absolute chook raffle. Though so the Swannies Grand Final party, in the sweeps, you get 3 main shots. You pick your margin, you pick a Norm Smith player, and you pick a first goal player. Now, my luck dictates that I get an absolutely hopeless Norm Smith player. I'd say Josh Shackey is who I would get this year. And just sorry, Rod, having another dig at him. But I always get a gun. Like I get Petrarca for the first goal, and then someone like Neil Bullen kicks the first goal, and I've already lost my whole day's ended by the 5-minute mark of the grand final. I'm not going to win any prizes. But
Any other first goals from the pavilion? Oh, here we go. Marco.
Yeah, Willie, an old Swannies player.
Yep.
Massive Kangas fan, so he's on Benny Brown. I do think Benny could have a bit to do with it. Timmy's backed it up. Neil Bullen will be paying 26-1, so gamble responsibly, but worth a look. From a free
They'll
kick.
come back, boys.
Wouldn't that be great for the atmosphere, though? Just to get people like me and the rest of us up and about. Like we've already got it in our heads. It'd be a ripping start to the game.
Christian Vandermeer, that is a fantastic call. That's what you call a daily double. Actually picking the actual free kick and then the goal. And it'll be 25 metres.
A hold that he initiates, somebody else engages in, and he goes back, slots it from the boundary. I can almost see it now.
Yeah. All right. Root, who's your first goal, mate?
First goal to Flea, as Chris say. He just come back, give him a goal, and then everyone boo him. Good for him. He responds.
He does. He looks like he loves it too, doesn't he? The more people sort of start digging, I feel like he's the sort of player that. He's got that.
He responds well for that one. Yeah.
Oh,
so I got a Flea.
Don't do it to me.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Storm and Norm Smith medalist. I'm going to lock away Petrarca now. I'm thinking about Clary and Max Gawn, but I just had this feeling that first half that I saw him play against Geelong. I know Max went on and dominated in the second half as well, but I think just Petrarca, he's made for this day, and he's not far off being on the same platform as a Dusty. That's why, and he needs to win a Norm Smith to be spoken about the same space. But I'd love to see Petrarca or the Bont. Depending on which way the result goes, I'm still divided 50-50 down the middle. We'll talk more about our margins and whatnot shortly. But, one of those 2 players. Rutkermanis, who's your Norm Smith medal winner?
Basalenga. Belly Smith.
Yeah, it'd be hard to...
Yeah, Belly Smith. He has been good for 3 weeks, so I go for him. Basalenga going to win it.
It's one player we haven't spoken about. He's probably had one of the best final series, particularly
he
from
pops
the Bulldogs.
up everywhere. Yeah,
he's been terrific. Yep. Bill?
If I got to put one, I would put Oliver. I just think good luck getting between him and the footy this Saturday. I think he's got the temperament to not get rattled by a grand final. I think he's the hardest at it player in the league. Not deliver hard at it, like staying within a foot of the footy almost at all times, just like a swarm following it. But he just lines it up from 10 metres away, and his skills have improved that much. That now, if I was going to go with my heart, it's going to be May or Lever. Love seeing that aggressive defensive play. And I feel like both of them can change the shape of the game if they get the looks that they want. Obviously, Bevo is going to throw some kitchen sinks at them to stop that happening. But if they get settled and they start picking the ball off, I love the way May uses the ball. what he sets up from and how hard he is at the one-on-ones. And obviously don't mind what Weaver does. So I love the defenders, but if I have to put one down, I'd put Oliver.
I'm just trying to think, when was the last time a defender or a forward won the Norm Smith?
Brian Lake, your mate?
Brian Lake.
Oh, yeah, Brian Lake Cup, yeah. So that was only 6 years ago.
Hodgie won one down back, I was told this week.
Yeah,
my next question was that on the ball or down back? Apparently it was down back. So they're the two. They're both under Clarko. So
yeah.
Henderson
is a back line, half back line on that day.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'll tell you what,
big meters game.
JJ's footy's really dropped away since that premiership.
Yep.
JJ
and Wood
just he's really struggled. They tagged him out of there.
Yeah.
And I know Caleb Daniel and Bailey Dale have been really good down back and replaced him in that role, but his footy's really been in a decline, and hopefully, he can, if he can stand up and kick a couple, well, he's worth his weight in gold. But he's on big dollars off the back of that Norm Smith. But that's probably a story for another day.
Caleb Daniel was best on last time the two teams played too. He was incredible that last game.
I love
in and under, such a good ball user.
Yeah. Cool.
So the halfback's going to win it.
Yeah.
Halfback is a key for the Bulldogs. So it's just Daniel, Bailey Dale, and Bailey Williams, or even Doc. If they set up the game from the back line, and they can do everything, but they need to lift from prelim. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Bill, anything from the pavilion from the Norm Smith?
Nope. Nothing more since.
Timmy P, you've gone quiet on us, son. You've got your 3 votes, but mate, I think he's taken his 3 votes and gone home.
I think he's put Jack Viney in for a Norm Smith.
Oh, earlier.
He's gone early. He said he's come off 28 and 34. Hard at it. He's a big Norm Smith chance.
Yeah, he went the early roost. That's right. All right. Now,
here we go. A late one from Willie. Norm Smith in Hanoi. I should have read this. Mick Francis, always a big-time player. Jasper's Grand Final party. Unfortunately, we can't get into Jasper's, but I'm sure that and Mickey Francis might actually be back in Oz still off the top of my head. But he's a perennial best on Grand Final day at the Swans Northern Party. Jack Viney.
Jack Viney.
And Willie's also given us the Norm Smith tip, and he's gone for Big Mac Storm. Bring that on.
All right, very good. Okay, you can also add yours in the comment section later on if you feel the need to. Now, the winning team and the margin, I'm still really split, but I've got a feeling, and you both of you blokes are not going to like this. I've got a feeling we're going to go into extra time. I've got goosebumps.
It can't happen.
It's going to happen. I think that the year that this pandemic has dished up and continues to dish up, I would not be surprised. It's had a year of everything, and I just feel it's going to go the distance. And if it does, it's anyone's. I could flip a coin. I'd love to. I've gone with the Tokyo analysation for Bill. 64 Olympics, Tokyo. 2021 Olympics, Tokyo. I might have just got
the alternate to that. I'm just going to forward this straight off a group. I'm just going to read it straight off a group chat. I haven't got to the end of it, so I don't know which way it's going to go.
Ooh.
Australia's last notable earthquake, 2016. So they're going. Okay. One of Australia's most damaging earthquakes, 1954.
Ooh.
So earthquakes. Luckily, they've moved the grand final to Perth, so forget about that. The earthquake was in Melbourne. No one cares about Melbourne anymore. They can stay in the streets and do whatever. 1954 granny between Melbourne and Footscray. So that's the flip side of it.
Okay. All right. Now, Root, we know you're going to pick the Bulldogs. How much?
Yep.
How much?
By 5 points.
Oh,
5 points.
Geez, even that.
So is that after extra time or is that in full time?
That's Waitman. Free kick on the siren.
That's going to be good.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that forever.
Cody Waitman or Norton lines up on the siren, kicks the winning goal.
It's too many.
Now, Bill, I'm thinking that you're going to go a larger margin because you don't want the heartache. You don't want it to
I can't take it.
You don't want to pull any hair out.
4 goals.
Okay. So
5 goals up at 3/4 time, 4 goals.
Just got a feeling it's just going to be super close. There's been some absolute blowouts. The prelims were blowouts. But this is just going to be a battle for the ages, and it's going to be huge. I can't wait.
The deeper it goes, put it this way, the deeper it goes, who do you think that favours? Dogs have more Ks in the tank, might have more wear and tear, maybe not. The week off, that was a scheduling piece of genius by the AFL.
Yeah.
Well,
it was for COVID reasons. And
was it? No, there's no COVID reason.
Didn't have to do quarantine?
Dogs? They could have done that. They would have had 1 week. They would have come out of quarantine on the Friday before the grand final.
Yeah,
so if it was to give them a week to go and walk the streets and catch COVID.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's made the spectacle much better. Now that we're here, last weekend was a shocker. Good for the NRL, free kick. But now that we're here, it's made this game just an absolute rip snorter because everybody's fresh, everybody's ready to go.
Yeah.
Now, if it gets tight later, I start to think it favours the Dogs. So I just don't want to be anywhere near that mess. Yeah. Umpires come into it; they've got them through a couple of games the last few rounds.
I've heard enough.
Out of bounds. Charlie Cameron running past somebody, ring a bell.
We don't want to get into conspiracy theories.
Exactly.
There's enough of that on Facebook. So we
Melbourne by 4 goals.
All right, now. Just on that, if they're going to continue on with this bye round leading into the grand final, it can be I don't know whether they will, but if they do, this is when you have your All-Star weekend.
Under 19s even, under 18, so you can look at the draft prospects. There's plenty you can do. What about state of origin? Imagine that. State of origin happens Friday before grand final. So only the grand final players are out. It would suck if West Coast were in or something like that, because you'd be decimated. But make it worth the players' while, like the NRL does, and have a serious state of origin Friday the week before grand final. It wouldn't be that bad.
Yeah, you'd have one of those games on a Friday or on a Saturday with your Teddy Whitten game.
Yeah. So Matt's pointed out that the bye was always scheduled. They wanted to keep the original grand final date.
Yeah.
Now, they keep talking about the fact that they think they're flexible and whatever. Flexible would just jump forward to Saturday. But that's true. It kept the grand final on grand final day. Channel 7 would be happy. And given we've had such great contribution from the grandstands today, I thought Willie said he met Bevo in Edenhope. Played his guitar in the motel room for ages. The doggies will have a musical theme. The band will be up and about. I think Bevo's done a great job this finals.
Yeah, and thanks to everyone for their contributions in the pavilion today. It's been absolutely magnificent. Your interaction's been real supported and really appreciated. There's just one more thing I was going to talk about, but it's lost me now. But I think, as we're talking about coaches, and once the players go out, the coaches, they get their time, quarter time, half time, 3/4 time, but Bevo's been absolutely inspirational. I've heard some of the commentary that was broadcasted on SEN about his pre-game, his halftime, and his full-time speeches, and it's goosebumps. So for me, he is the best coach in the league currently at the moment. Simon Goodwin's done an outstanding job. To get Uzo and Mark Williams on board, not the one that's been giving us the wonderful comments, has been really tremendous for him and rounded him out as a coach. And, it's been at least we got the 2 best teams there, which is really good. Okay, Matty overtime Dogs. Okay,
just thought I'd put that there for posterity, whatever the phrase actually is. But there we go. You can live on your sword.
I don't think
you said it.
If it goes to overtime, I don't know. I don't know who's going to win. That's the best thing about it. And I was about to say before, those of us that live in Asia, AFL Grand Final is our Christmas. It is our Christmas. Okay, Edgy. Glad to hear from you, Edgy. Bevo's father, John, coached me in junior footy. Jeez, and now Edgy is one of the official dinosaurs and one of the eldest statesmen of AFL Asia. But thank you, Edgy. That's a ripper comment. Anything else from the pavilion, Bill, before we get on to our regional footy?
I missed a couple early, but we got to. I I conveniently skipped over that one at the start.
Yeah, great to hear
But,
from Taryn McManus there. He's actually PNG Marooks
Yeah.
player. He came across there and loved having a photo
great.
with him. Yeah, so he was one of the originals that came over in the Asian Chance in Manila. And I think he was wearing the Mario suit or the Luigi on the Super Sunday sesh that we were doing on the rounds there. So well done, and thanks for you to joining us as well.
And Matty Wilton also mentioned the Cats Gastro at the start, which I also skipped over.
The pension card.
Yeah, so...
No, we won't go into that too much. But the Cats, they've got to go again with that current list of players, and there's a few that need to chop there, but they'll get to that. They've chopped enough of the coaches have left as well. Just before we get into regional sport, I was really surprised that the Carlton Footy Club has gone down the path of appointing Michael Voss as their coach. Tell you what, Carlton, I don't know what to mention of that club, but they've been clumsy, clunky, unorthodox and unprofessional, but they've got their man.
Their third choice man.
Fifth choice. I don't know, but to be honest with you, I don't rate Vossi as a coach, and I don't rate Carlton as a club. I rate
Vossi. Give him a chance.
No, you give him a chance, but I just don't know whether strategy-wise whether he's going to have the nous. That's just me personally. Look, everyone's entitled to their opinion. And as I mentioned on Facebook today, there's a fine line between having a valid opinion and embarrassing yourself. So I'll stop right there. Now, it's been brilliant, boys, around the domestic front. Go D's, Edgy. Good work, Edgy. It's been brilliant that we've had some footy back. We'll go to you, Rut. Now, normally in Thailand, you've had red versus blue. Now you've got yellow versus black. And I looked at those Guernseys. They look magnificent. And the photos that were taken on Facebook from the Thailand Tigers Facebook page, you've got two females rucking and two young local players roving. For me, that personified where footy's at the moment in Asia. It's all about getting women involved, locals involved, with a sprinkle of ageing and dominating expats as well. But let's get a bit of an idea of the concept, Rut, and how things are looking in Thailand with that new concept.
It's run well for a couple of years. It's not just this time that we bring in women, just like and the kids, a local one. I think both Auskick and the Thailand Tigers run well with associate with Duong Prateep Foundation, bring in the kids, not just footy ground. Let them support the community, English class, do whatever that we can support them. So those kids run well with the club. Right now they understand the rule of the game. Some of them just like play maybe they will be a good player in the future very soon. AFLW here it's just up and down. It depends on expat mostly because it's tough to grow up a girl in Thai to play football. So that one have to go harder to get AFW player, but we are on the right track so far.
Good stuff.
Yeah, excellent. I was going to say, Bill, I hope that dog in the background is not a bad omen because you might have to shut it up in a minute. But let's get back to it now. Bali last night had they brought in a new domestic competition. 3 teams, again mixed. You've got 10 players per team on the field. 2 of them have to be female. Males cannot go up in an aerial contest or tackle a female. So they've got 3 interesting names. They've got the alpacas or alpacas. They've got the kangaroos, which is named after one of the islands there in Bali, and the black wolves. So again, it's a concept. And Ricky Olorenshaw, a great fan of ours and a great mate of our and one of the AFL Asia's favourite. But
get on the Swannies Facebook page and listen to Ricky Lorenzo's podcast this week. He was about to run off to training for the Alpacas too. But Ricky was good enough to give us an hour on the Swans podcast this week. Yeah. And it's fantastic. He talks about Grand Final day, how the crowd impacts you, and he relates it back to playing Asian footy, actually, which is pretty good stuff. So the Swans Facebook page actually has the link to that podcast. But, Ricky was what a great time of year to speak to him about all that stuff too.
Yeah, perfect, Bill. And 1993 AFL Premiership with the Baby Bombers there. Essendon was one of those years like the Dogs that's come from nowhere, as the Dogs did in 2016. So we've got the Bali Geckos, got their domestic comp going. Hong Kong Dragons are going around for season 2 within 2021. I'm not sure whether they had any idea that footy would be back in Asia at the back end of the year. They left that open, but they've come back for season 2. Always plenty of numbers on the training track there in Hong Kong, and they actually trained yesterday. Sorry we didn't get a post out. So they were training yesterday on their national holiday. I'd be interested to see if the Cambodian Eagles and Apsaras come back. I know there's a pretty high percentage of vaccinations that have been distributed and used throughout the country, and they're one of the best of the Indochina countries, and be interesting to see if they have any football in the back half of this year. Shanghai, I have to get in touch with Trev. Hopefully they've got something moving there shortly. But Guangzhou have had really solid numbers, and great to see the GOAT back out there, Howard Zhang, and Chen and the crew. And they've got lots of women out there at the moment enough to get a nine-a-side team. So Beijing's been really strong. We've mentioned that through our socials. The amount of growth in Beijing's been phenomenal. And I think they're having a game actually tomorrow on Grand Final day. Yeah, Singapore Sharks have been huge. Singapore Sharks and their Oz Kick and Development program. They were trained. I thought, actually, thank you for mentioning that, Christian. I did read that they cancelled, so maybe they did train on Monday. But Singapore Sharks and Hong Kong Dragons Oz Kick, 2 of the biggest Oz Kick and junior development programs in the world. Absolutely huge, and we've really enjoyed our coverage of them of late. So I don't know whether we'll get any footy here in Japan. We've got a state of emergency that looks like may continue, but it's meant to finish end of September. Whether that continues, and I don't know. We've been in this state of emergency, which is basically an 8 o'clock curfew. So I don't know. I think it's in about 5 weeks for the year we haven't been. So, yeah. Any other footy that you guys are aware of around the region? Not that I can think of anything more.
So I think you've covered it pretty well. But yeah, that those Thailand photos were exciting for us to see here, given it's that close. And
one more I did forget, Bill. Big shout out to Inam Ul-Haq, who's been on our podcast before. He's doing some amazing things over there in Pakistan. They had their first under-15s competitive match last week, and the Tigers, his team, and the other team he actually coaches as well, had their first game. Well done to the Tigers FC over there in Pakistan. They got their win in the first ever under-15s game. Now, one of the best things we spoke about before is AFL Grand Final parties. There's parties going on in Malaysia, Hong Kong. There's an online one. We'll get to that shortly, Rutkermanis. I know that Guangzhou had one there. They put out on their socials just before the podcast started. Beijing's got their game plus the Grand Final celebration afterwards, and that party is sold out. I'll have to check out Trev to see if he's got anything going there at Shanghai. I know that Laos had this called off. Anything online, Bill, in Vietnam before we get to Rut with his Thailand Tigers online Grand Final party?
No. And I'm actually quite relieved that it's panned out this way, that I won't have 200 people around me on the day and making an absolute prick of myself. So might cause a bit of trouble with the in-laws down here, but I can get myself in a dark room and just worry about the job at hand. But the Thailand stuff looks incredible. We did discuss it, and I think it's really great that they've gone to the effort to make it a bit of an event too, with guests and things like that. I'll let you guys go through the details, but
yeah,
great stuff, Tigers.
Yeah, well done, Tigers. You've done some amazing things during this pandemic. Now, Rutkermanis, we talk about headline acts. You're a headline act today, but your headline act is going to be Lin Jun from the Western Bulldogs, and you're going to actually interview him yourself. So, mate, you've got. I've seen your running sheet. You've got a fair bit of detail there, Rook. But can you give us a bit of a condensed understanding as to what the Thailand Tigers are getting up to for their online AFL Grand Final party?
It's like they're going to go with the Zoom application. It's like let everyone together and talk with past member of Thailand Tigers, and then interview with Jongji and watch the Grand Final together. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting day. Just like we have a trial 2 weeks ago. It's gone well. It's like thank for our committee for that one. Generate those ideas. It's good for everyone. They run well since pandemic. Just like last year, they have a quiz night. Just bring everyone together.
Yeah, they were fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
So when the first time that we are in the lockdown, we can't connect with everyone, and then it just the lights in, and then we see each other. Good life. Yeah, so hopefully this weekend going to be great again. Yep. Make footy great again.
Yeah, excellent. Do you have any idea how many people will be attending the online AFL party in Thailand?
I think more than 30 or 40.
Yeah, terrific. Yeah, no, that's outstanding to hear.
But I'm going like Billy. Maybe I would just lock myself from someone else.
You can always.
No.
Internet's cutting out. See you guys.
Yeah. Or join with them. But
once you speak to Lin Jong, and then hang on. I think there's a storm coming through the Robbo.
Yeah.
Now, Bill, anything else from the pavilion before we wind things up?
Just on the Sharks. Christian confirmed that the dads got out.
Yeah.
Looks like they might have had a good session. And, so Auskit couldn't go ahead. But I think it is great that there's footy happening in the region.
Yeah.
As we take our turns to kind of, go onto Struggle Street, it's good to have a look to the side and see, the Tigers the Geckos getting a league up. Like green shoots really helps you sort of take stock a little bit and go, okay, there will be green shoots again. Let's get through this couple of weeks, couple of months, whatever it's going to take, and get out there.
Yeah, footy's going to be back. We've got to get the jabs, so go and get it done so we can get Asian champs back. We can travel. We can get the Indo-China Cups going. We can get the old band back together, the old AFL Asia family, and really get footy roaring in Asia again. Rutkermanis, I'm going to give you the 3 votes. Oh, here we go. Timmy P. Now, Timmy P, I was just about to give Root the 3 votes. Timmy's come back. 3 votes.
Norm Smith.
Norm Smith for today. Timmy Pickett. Really good. Timmy, you've been a wonderful contributor today. Mark Williams, you're going to get the 2 online votes. And
really.
Matty Wilton will give him 1 vote as well. But Root, you've got the 3. Bill, you've got the 2, and I'll grab the sneaky 1. Thanks, Mark. You've been terrific today, so you get the 2. And Yoshi, you get 0 votes because you weren't even online. So bad luck.
What's Yoshi doing? He's in state of lockdown. He's missed it.
He's all over the shop at the minute, but he'll tune in later today. So looking forward to seeing you Saturday, Yosh, for a bit of a Dingo's unofficial party. So thanks, Root, for joining us. All the best Saturday, mate, with Lin Jun. And thank you for joining us. You've been outstanding.
Cup.
There, Bill, thank you to you. I'll catch up with you again soon, Bill. We've got to get a few things sorted out. But to everyone...
Good luck, Rudy. I hope the dogs go well in 2022.
Have a great day too, all right? Good luck.
Yeah, have a good day. Should be fun. It's now feeling like Grand Final week, right? So it's really exciting.
And to all of our viewers, stay safe. Enjoy your AFL Grand Final. If you've got a party, kampai, which we say in Japan, but really enjoy your day. Enjoy making some memories and look forward to seeing everyone soon. This is Matty Gale on behalf of AFL Asia's podcast, How Good's Footy in Asia, episode 23. Grand Final Day edition preview. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch up again soon. Cheers.